Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. Major companies are years behind in county fire inspections. WRAL Investigates discovered through a public records request that several of the major employers in our area haven't had county fire inspections in years. A retired assistant fire marshal warns that's a major safety risk. WRAL's investigative reporter Sarah Krueger is with me today to share her findings, which are already inspiring some change. Sarah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Sarah, can you start off by telling me what are fire inspections and what about them makes them so important?
So the inspections, they involve everything from checking that exit doors work properly, that they'll open in an emergency, to sprinklers, making sure those work. They look at hazardous materials storage, chemical storage, check that fire extinguishers are up to date. A long, long list of things. These are really tedious inspections. Some of them can even take days, especially when we're talking about big companies like these, big buildings like these. And I talked to a retired assistant fire marshal for my story. He said he actually wouldn't even let his loved ones go to work in these buildings if that's where they happen to work, just knowing what he knows about how important inspections are.
Yeah, that really underscores just how serious this is. And of course, a lot of people probably know their own loved ones work in these places. What are the companies that we're talking about here, and how far behind are they?
Yes, so we are talking about 7 companies. They're Corning Life Sciences, Novo Nordisk, RTI, Syngenta, Troxler, and then the most overdue are Merck and Wolfspeed. And those two were last checked by Durham County in 2019,
Wow.
even though they're supposed to be inspected every single year. So all these companies are all in Durham County. Some are in the RTP area, some are in the Trayburn Corporate Park area in North Durham. And the way that state fire code is written, inspections are required for buildings at different intervals of time, depending on what type of building they are. So for some buildings, they're required every year. Others are every 2 years, or at most every 3 years. And we do have the full fire inspection reports on our website and the information on how overdue they are as well. And just to put all this in perspective, these are offices where roughly 7,000 employees work. And the latest state data even shows that 2 of the companies, Wolfspeed and RTI, are among the top 10 largest employers in Durham County.
And when you reached out to Durham County, what did they say about why they got so far behind?
They basically said it's a supply and demand issue. There are so many buildings and so few staff. They need more staff. They have 7 total positions in their entire office, and 2 of those are vacant right now. And they have 878 inspections that they are supposed to do every year. And that's all according to Durham's Office of Emergency Services, the director there. And a county spokesperson said, you know, on top of having those vacancies, that's one thing, but it's so hard to fill them. She said it's hard to find qualified candidates. And then in the interim, it's hard to find qualified temp workers or contractors who could help them out in this situation as they are so far behind.
And you also reached out to these companies. What did you hear back from them?
So I heard back from 2, at least so far. I've heard back from 2. One of those was Novo Nordisk, and they said the county inspection is being scheduled for next month, so it's coming up very soon. And they also noted that the Fire Marshal Division has been to Novo Nordisk more than 20 times in the past 4 years for various kinds of checks. So they stressed how important safety is at their company. And both they and Corning Life Sciences told me they also use private vendors to monitor fire safety systems.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how, since Sarah started asking these questions, there have already been some changes happening. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about the latest reporting from WRAL Investigates Sarah Krueger, which revealed Durham County is years behind its inspection of several major companies' buildings. Sarah, once you learned about this, you started asking questions, and what are the results that you've seen so far?
Yeah, so I reached out to the county fire marshal's office about this on Friday, January 31st, once I had gotten all these inspections back from that public records request I filed. And I found out on the following Monday, the county reached out to the state office, the office of the state fire marshal, essentially asking for help. So now the office of the state fire marshal is helping out. They say they are reviewing Durham's program.
And North Carolina has a really devastating reminder of the importance of these fire inspections. Can you tell us about a deadly workplace fire that happened back in the 90s?
Yeah, so this is something that the retired assistant fire marshal that I interviewed mentioned. It's something very much on the minds of people who were alive then and who were old enough to be watching the news then. This was in Hamlet, North Carolina, in Richmond County in 1991. There was a fire at a chicken plant, and it killed 25 people. And that building has since been described as a, quote, death trap, since 2 of the exit doors were locked from the outside. So just a really devastating situation in our state's history, highlighting the importance of fire inspections, which include things like checking exit doors and that they function properly during an emergency.
And given that this case that we're talking about really only includes these top companies in Durham County, and we have 100 or 99 other counties around the state, do we have any idea statewide how many buildings are behind on their inspections? Is this a bigger problem? Yeah,
so that's something that I am really interested to learn the answer to, and I've been trying to learn the answer to. So I did ask that to the Office of the State Fire Marshal, do you all keep track of how many buildings statewide are behind in fire inspections? And they do not. They could not provide that to me. And then I was even thinking, in Durham County more broadly, how behind are they? What other buildings haven't been inspected? And I asked Durham County for that. I haven't heard back, so I don't know if they track how many buildings countywide are behind.
Well, thank you, Sarah. It sounds like there's a lot more reporting to do on this subject, and we look forward to hearing from you on that in the future. Thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. That's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.